Welcome back to my channel. A few episodes back, I was working on my new truck, and I brought up the idea of putting duals on the back. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been working on that, and tonight I think we will show you what we've done. The Army trucks, which these trucks were designed after, or used actually, usually came with duals on the back. In fact, almost all the 2.5 ton 6x6s, which is what I'm patterning this after, did. But tonight, or today I should say, I put together all the work that I've done getting this ready. It's kind of a mixture of a lot of the different parts. I went through a bunch of different ideas and a bunch of different designs, and hopefully it does make some sense, and at the end you'll see what we ended up with. Enjoy. I'm back to working on my dual wheel adaptation idea. And you know, it's nice that these trucks come with a spare tire, and I have two trucks, so I have two spares, but I'm going to need 4 more if I'm going to make duals. And if I'm going to be modifying these wheels anyway, maybe I don't need actually 4 wheels, but tires. And I went online, and it's hard to find just these tires for sale, at least for a good price. Someone said these were beadlock rims, and it looks like they have been held together with 5 Phillips head screws. Yeah, there's a insert inside for the beadlock, and then an outer and inner wheel. And I'm thinking for the dual adapters, we're going to make use of some or all of those parts. Just to recap a little bit what I talking about earlier, I want to move that inside tire in so that it is closer to that shock instead of sticking out so far, look more realistic. So I think what we'll do is go 5. If I can move the wheel in 5 millimeters, it's probably going to be a practical distance. See how that goes. Okay, I didn't record everything because I was doing a lot of figuring. But this is kind of what I'm thinking, is that you have an inside rim and an outside rim, and then a collar around it like that. And then when you assemble it all together, it'll all just squeeze together as on the beadlocks. So if I were to take out the collar, the part of the trick here now is knowing where this seam should be, and then we need to put a hex socket on the end of this, which will then mate into the axle nut. Rotate this down flat so I have a little surface area to work with. And we need to put a hex on top of that. Okay, so there's the hex. So let's bring in a round circle around it like they have on the Atlas. Now all we have left is just the top flange. We'll group them together. Not group, but center them. There's our end of our rim flange. we'll make the hex transparent. Now we got the end of the rim. We have a round circle and a hex-shaped cutter. Let's group that into just one piece like that. So let's, just as a test, let's just print that to the printer to see how the nut fits. Oh, we need to put a hole in the middle for the bolt. Transparent, turn on all the layers like that. So this should drill a hole through the plate, leave a hex in the top. Now do a group. We got a hole in the middle for the axle, square nut for the axle nut. Yeah, let's send that to the printer. Here's our printed part compared to the factory part. And we'll see if we can get that on the truck here. It fits snug. I think it might be a little too small, but I also think that the original part has kind of a taper to it, so it goes on easy, and then when you go on all the way, it fits kind of snug. So maybe this will be just fine. I'll keep it like it is for now. So if that's a fit, then we'll go ahead and finish the rest of the outer rim, including this part of it. Oh, there's Back in Tinkercad. There's the piece that we did. And let's go ahead and take the rest of the rim. Bring it over here, lock the original again. Let's rotate this around. And let's separate it. So now it's got this top flange is separate from the rest of it. Take that top ring, take that piece there, line. See, I'm going to do it. Let's center it this direction, and center the bottom edge. So now, if we turn those two off, we should see it embedded right inside of itself. So let's take this part and lock it. Maybe delete the green one if it's, yeah, there it is. And now this should be the outer ring, or the outer rim. Okay, before I print it, let's combine it. Tip it upside down, or the other direction up, I should say. And instead of these square edges, I wanted to kind of make some rounded or beveled edges, let's put it that way. Look at it from the front again. And we'll drag that down enough to make kind of a beveled or a chamfered edge. You can see what I'm doing there, just kind of a 45 maybe on the rim. Just kind of make it look a little neater. Okay, so let's turn this one back to solid. Turn that one to a hole. Combine them. So there's our rim. There's our rim. It's mostly all square cut. We got a little chamfered edge on the top like that. Let's send that to the printer. Here's the outer rim. We got the hex socket on it right there, like we wanted. It's snug on there, just like we wanted. Just to test fit a couple weak tires in here, just to see. I like it so far. See what it looks like on the truck. I'm going to call that good. Just want to show you what we got so far. We got the outer rim, the inner rim, the insert that goes inside the tire, and I just put some holes in it just so the air could get out. In fact, you can see the stock insert on the right or the left, and then the one we just made on the right. And then we have this ring that goes between the wheels. And I think we're ready for the final assembly prior to calling it a day. It's getting kind of late here. We'll put one of these inserts inside the tire. There we go. This insert inside of another tire. And since this truck the tires are directional, we want them to go in that direction. So as it sits on the truck, it will look like that, which means that this would be the outside. We'll poke in the outside rim like that. Put the little ring that goes between them like that, and put the second wheel on there like that, and put the inside rim together like that. And I like the way these staggered tread teeth kind of overlap like that. So that now we have a nice tight, if this is all tightened together, the bead locks are holding both of those at the appropriate factory setting according to the copy that I made. And I should be able to put it on the truck, I think. Okay, so it's kind of snug like that. We can take the lug nut and line that up with the axle threads. Screw that in like that. You can see I've got the trimmed lug wrench, so it now fits on there a little better. There you go. That should be the look. And if you can see in there, we are missing the shock like we want to. I do see something that it actually hits the tail light. So this is another excuse to move the tail lights back. I thought I was finished for tonight, but I really wanted to put those bolts in there. And I got 2 of them in, 2 out of the 6, I should say. So now when we put it on the truck, you should be able to see it. So here is probably how it's going to look. See, there's a very small gap between the fender, the sidewalls. Here's what the outside is going to look like. There's the inside with the hex socket for the axle, and as it flexes, it'll, they'll just kind of, and I think that's going to look good. So now I'm going to put it on the truck. I'm not sure how the focus is going to be, but there we are, getting it lined up with the hex. Has a fairly snug fit, and it's probably comes up 3/4 of the way of the hex bolt or the hex nut. The factory one probably comes up about halfway. Now there we go with the Tires on there. You can see even better now that it misses the spring just about right. It's going to come down and hit the tail light. And the lineup, or the alignment I should say, with the other wheels is about right. It looks like it's a little bit wide in terms of wanting to be centered, but I think that's going to be proportionally correct now. It sticks out just a little ways past the bed, way better than it did when we were just doubling them up. So I'm thinking that's good enough for today. Tomorrow we'll print out the other three and put them together. Actually, we won't, because we're still down 2 tires. This is the new inside wheel, and we're also printing it in silver. Let's see how this works. See, I switched to the silver because it seemed like the black was kind of a dark tunnel. It's hard to see the details, hard to look into it. So let's just strip this one apart and see what we can do with it. So far it's a pretty tough one. Always cool when it finally breaks loose. A little bit of cleanup inside there, but that's going to look nice. Here's the latest. This is what I call V5 or version 5. I decided to put in the metallic gray. Start off here. And a couple changes that I made. We've filleted a round fillet on the edges of the rim. I added some reinforcement inside and to make it look kind of cool. It's looking like a lot better print actually than the black did. Here's the inside hub, the inside rim. It's got the square or the hex socket, and I also reinforced that one so that it wouldn't, when sideways pressure wouldn't break that little piece off. Here's the inserts that go inside the wheels. I added some air holes and a little groove right here inside for the air to get through. And then actually there's also holes here in the rim that line up with that air hole, so the air can freely come in and out. And then a new spacer for in between. I believe, if I've measured it right, that we've added about 1 millimeter further in, and I've narrowed it by making it this spacer 1 millimeter narrower. So the tires should be a little bit closer together, and it should be closer into the spring. Okay, let's put it together and put the insert inside the tire. There's one tire. There's the other insert. Now I should be able to take the outside. Okay, I got to remember this is a directional. So here's the tire, this direction on the truck. It's going to be on this side. Okay, that should be the outside, like that. You should be able to put the spacer ring in there. And then the inside rim, get it the right direction. Place through there. Should be able to assemble that together. Like that. And when I squeeze those tight together, we should have, yep, we got just a little bit of a less of a gap. The tires aren't quite touching. I don't have the screws in it to hold it together, but if I hold it snug, we ought to be able to see how close it is to the spring now, like that. It looks like we're still missing the spring. Now what is going to happen, I'm pretty sure, is that when it flexes up, it's going to be rubbing the spring, and it looks like it's just going to slide by, so it's probably not that big a deal. And oh, I don't know if you noticed it, but I removed the tail lights, so they're no longer there. I'm thinking that is good, and I'm going to go ahead and print up the other ones for the other wheels. Oh yeah, let's take a look at what the silver looks like compared to the black. I like the way it contrasts with the black tire. May not be authentically house moving or military truck looking, but I don't think anyone's going to complain. There's 2 bolts in there. You can see the studs sticking up with the nuts on them, and see the heads of the screws that are down into that end. These are 2mm studs and nuts. See what it looks like on the truck. Oh yeah. Really close to that shock, but pretty good. There it is with the axle nut on it. There's a straight on shot, and you can see that the spacing between these 2 tires is a little bit narrower, a little bit wider on that side. I can't see, maybe the shock is a little bit closer here, bigger gap on that side. And sighting down the bed, it sticks out just a little bit, and it was what we had before. It stuck out quite a bit more. If my calculations are right, it's about 2mm in further than it used to be. Thank you again for joining me on this journey. Tonight we went through the different iterations of making dual wheels on this truck. I did a lot of measuring and a lot of designing. First thing we did was we made some black ones, and different dimensions and different ways it looked. And then the final product was we ended up with these silvery ones, which you could see a lot more of the detail. Here's a zoomed in version of the lug nuts and how it looked. And I think the finished product is looking pretty good. I'm thinking that I'll maybe put together another wheel to replace the front one, so the front ones match the back ones. With that said, thank you for being here, and thanks for watching.